Do you know what the most expensive substance on Earth currently is? Gold is old news now, and more powerful substances are making their way into the market. Can an old book really be more expensive than a Ferrari? Value seems to be given to a lot of crazy things nowadays, and on today's show, we're going to show you just a few of the most expensive things in the world. Hey everyone, how's it going? Are you guys ready for another action-packed American Eye video? Let's check it out. Number 13. Rhine 2 photograph, $4.3 million. They say a photograph is worth 1,000 words, but in some cases, it can be worth $4.3 million. Sometimes things are just a little bit more expensive than they should be, but if it's a really nice photo, shouldn't it be worth a little extra more? The Rhine 2 is a photograph created by a German visual artist in 1999. The photograph was of the Rhine River, which is flowing horizontally with flat green fields on each side. The sky is gray, and some digital editing was put to use. A dog walker and a factory were both removed from the photograph to make it seem more natural. The photo was actually produced from 6 different photographs. Number 12. The AMX 56 Leclerc, 9.3 million euros. The French are known for their luxury products, but one of their most expensive exports comes in the form of cold hard steel tank machinery with the AMX Leclerc. Actually, the tank is so advanced that it's not really made from steel at all, but actually a modular composite made from titanium, tungsten, and other classified materials. Tungsten is used in spacecraft because of its ability to withstand high temperatures. Leclerc tanks have only seen limited use on the battlefield, but were used by the UAE during operations in Yemen. In any case, they cost €9.3 million each to produce, which is just a little bit more expensive than the K2 Black Panther used by South Korea. Number 11. Ferrari GTO 250, $31 million. Ferrari is already an expensive and rare car, but when you take a look at the Ferrari GTO 250, the rarest of all Ferraris, it's almost like a non-existent unicorn with a V12 engine. These were only produced between 1962 to 1964, basically as a prototype made for racing only. Only 36 GTOs were produced during that time, with the majority of them being made in 1962, and all of these cars still exist. You better believe that this one is the most expensive car out there. It's still believed that the largest single car transaction took place in London for approximately $31.7 million. Number 10. The most expensive book, the Gutenberg Bible, $100 million. Considered to be the oldest book ever printed, it was assembled by the person who invented the printing press, Johannes Gutenberg. Only 49 copies are believed to exist, and it was the first substantial book created with movable metal pieces around the 1440s. Out of those 49, only 21 are complete, making it the rarest book and one of the most beautiful books in history. You might remember one leaf of the Bible being sold on Pawn Stars and was appraised for $80,000. Rick was able to hustle him down to $47,000 for the page, but keep in mind that's just one page. An entire book consists of 1,286 pages. While not every page is worth the same amount, this means an entire copy could be worth roughly $100 million if you sold them individually. Gutenberg also used handcrafted paper and special ink, which adds to its value. A complete buy, though, hasn't taken place since 1987 when it was sold at auction. Number 9. L'Homme Droit, $141 million. Although you might mistake this for Slender Man without his suit, this sculpture was the most expensive one ever sold when it auctioned for a price of $141 million by the Sotheby's at London. L'Homme Droit translates from French into the pointy man, and that's what he's doing. While some believe that modern art is merely a way for the elite to transfer money and not make it look suspicious, this sculpture is at least made from bronze. It was created by an Italian man, Alberto Giacometti. This has been in the possession of the New York real estate tycoon, Sheldon Solo, for over 45 years. People have described it as a rare masterpiece, an iconic and evocative sculpture. Basically, what you need to have a good piece of modern art is something that you don't put a lot of work into, a French name, and there you go. Number 8. Endohedral fullerenes. The most expensive substance pound for pound isn't gold, silver, platinum, uranium, or any of that. In fact, it's probably something you never even heard of before. Basically what this is at a molecular level is 60 carbon atoms with 1 atom of nitrogen trapped within. The substance is supposed to revolutionize the tech industry and allow for people to be tracked within 1 millimeter of their location. Designer Carbon Materials, a startup company, sold 200 micrograms of this stuff for $33,400. But that was only the beginning. 2 complete grams of this stuff sold for roughly $167 million US, which could buy some serious cool stuff out there. Number 7. The Avatar film. The most expensive movie ever made, which certainly was worth the investment, was Avatar. The production budget was roughly $478 million, with a lot of that money being spent on marketing. It managed to rack in $3.1 billion total worldwide. It required a hiring of a linguist in order to create a new language and utilize new technology in order to make it more realistic. A lot of money and time was spent to get more well-known actors, but the real catch was the 3D graphics that were being put to use. It seemed much more realistic than 3D movies seen before. Number 6. Salvator Mundi, $450 million. If you got some personal works of art created by Leonardo da Vinci, you're either extremely wealthy or you broke into an art museum. There are only 20 known works of Leonardo that remain in private possession, and this is one of them. It broke a record set by Christie's auction house rather recently in 2017 when it sold for $450 million. It was purchased by the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman. There were actually plans to put it on display at the Louvre Abu Dhabi. Currently though, no one knows exactly where it is at the moment. Seems kinda strange that a Muslim prince would want a painting of a Christian deity, but it is what it is. It was painted for King Louis XII, and it's been heavily restored, but still shows striking realisticness. Number 5. Antilla Mumbai Skyscraper. Imagine having your very own skyscraper in the middle of a major city. An Indian billionaire by the name of Mukesh Ambani moved into this building in 2012. This 570-foot tall mansion skyscraper boasts 400,000 square feet and is complete with 3 helipads. That's not all. It's also got a 168-car garage, 50-seat theater, terrace gardens, spa, and even a temple. It's been heavily criticized considering the poverty rate in Mumbai, and the fact that poor people have to look at it so often is a harsh reminder that they're not rich. Many have estimated that it's worth $2 billion. Number 4. The submersible yacht, $2.5 billion. So yeah, we all know that yachts would be cooler if they can go underwater, but is that even possible considering the size? And would anyone actually be able to afford one? People working at Migaloo private submersible yachts think yes, and they're thinking of one that converts a military-grade submarine into your own private sub-yacht. The government-owned yachts cost $2.3 billion to build, but once they're decommissioned and the torpedoes are taken off, they can convert them into something like this. Number 3. The B-2 bomber aircraft, $2 billion. This extremely expensive aircraft was built shrouded in secrecy by the US Air Force and is considered to be one of the most mysterious classified projects in US history. The reason this was such a big deal was due to its stealth capabilities, which were relatively unheard of when it was being developed in the late 90s. It can also deploy thermonuclear weapons with a bomb payload of 20 tons. In the 1980s and 1990s, it cost taxpayers an estimated $2 billion apiece, and we managed to build 20 of them, so that's basically $40 billion spent building these. Guess how many are actually operational? Only 11. One of them even crashed in Guam due to poor maintenance. Someday they could be put to use, but dang, that seemed like a lot of money down the drain. Number 2. USS Gerald Ford, $13 billion. The Gerald Ford is the first ship of the new class of aircraft carriers, and this floating airport is a big upgrade from the Nimitz class. With all these expensive and fancy aircraft that the US is coming up with, they'll need an advanced way to transport them. Individually, the CVN-78 class aircraft carrier is the most expensive military item to exist in the world. That doesn't include the most expensive aircraft on them either, or the research it took to make these. In the long run, it should save some money from lowering the number of crew members, but increasing the number of automated systems. This thing even has laser beams. The living conditions on board were improved by increasing the air conditioning. It also uses an electromagnetic launch system, which will increase the life expectancy on multi-million-dollar planes. The newly designed nuclear reactors will produce 3 times as much power as the Nimitz class. The upgrades are quite impressive, especially with the new radar system, and will be able to generate 30% more flights per day. The total cost, $13 billion, is how much it cost for the parts and labor, and $4.7 billion was how much it cost for the research and development. Before we get to our number 1, tell us what the most expensive thing you bought was, and if it was worth it. And number 1, the International Space Station, $150 billion. The International Space Station is basically one big machine that floats around in outer space and is shared with 16 different nations who made it in outer space. While you think moving down the freeway 80 miles an hour is fast, this thing moves at an alarming 5 miles per second and circles planet Earth in only 90 minutes. There are many minor components that are essentially built into its practical use, and it's also the most expensive object ever built, costing $120 billion. We all know what you're thinking though. How on Earth, or outer space, do they go to the bathroom with no gravity? This photo shows the state-of-the-art space bathroom designed by NASA, complete with harnesses and pumps to create a sanitary bathroom for astronauts. Keeping the toilet airtight is key, so a tight airspace between the user and the toilet is necessary. Foot straps keep the person on the john, and the suction pipes take care of the rest of the work. In case you were wondering, that's how it goes down. So what'd you guys think of that video? Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. We'll see you next time.